Okay, guys, how are you all doing today? All right, before we get into the actual, what we're talking about, the films, let's explain what happened, why I didn't upload the video on Friday. Quick little, I guess, what happened to my computer? So basically, I bought I want to upgrade my RAM because when I run Resolve, which is the editing software I use to make all my videos, it keeps lagging and crashing. So I figure I need more memory. So I bought two 16 gig of RAM and I saw it was compatible with my motherboard, but it wasn't the same brand as the previous two that I purchased, which I didn't realize would be a huge problem. Anywho, I installed those 16 gig of RAM, and when I did that, the computer only gave me 21 gigs of RAM installed instead of 48, because I have two 8 currently, and then I added 32 more. So I don't know what's going on with that. So I did some weird manipulation where I took out RAM, put RAM back in there, and eventually the computer wasn't starting. It was doing a classic boot loop. A boot loop is basically, oh my god, is my thing still? I thought I turned off the autofocus. Anyhow, a boot loop is basically when the computer will start up and then turn off and then start up over and over again. So it turned out that the reason why the computer wasn't working is because when I put the RAM in, it wasn't properly into the system. My motherboard, not to go too geek into this stuff, but my motherboard has a thing where, man, I turned off autofocus and we're still having these problems. I'm gonna have to do some more diving into the manual. Okay, so I was saying my motherboard has like a clip for the RAM, but it only has a one-sided clip. So when you put it in there, you have to make sure both ends are properly in there. Usually RAMs or motherboards will have like two snapping clips. Mine only has one. So the RAM was basically kind of hanging off the other end, and I didn't know that when I was clipping it in. Anywho, I got it installed. Now I have more RAM than I could possibly need, but who cares? I can run Resolve now with no issues. So that was going on with my computer on Wednesday and Thursday, but now it has been fixed. Yay! And after this stream, I'll upload the video I was supposed to upload Friday, and I have a bunch of stuff I was working on that I'll be uploading a lot, I guess, during this week to make up for not uploading too much last week. So there you go, guys. Lesson of the day. If you're going to install RAM to your computer, make sure that it's inserted properly and make sure it's the same brand as the one in your current computer. Otherwise, you'll have problems. And read your manual too. I thought I did, but obviously here we are. So that's not my computer, but hey, it's fixed now, so we're all good. Couple comments and we will get started. Okay. Yeah, they're not. You can buy them on Amazon, but they're like over $100. So I don't recommend that. I think when they first came out, they were relatively cheap, but yeah, they're kind of expensive now. So man, it's unfortunate. I saw them illegally online. I'm not ashamed to admit that. Except the third film, believe it or not, was actually available in my library, which was really random. The third film was Glorification, but Transgression and Initiation weren't available. So who knows? How would you handle the movie trilogy? Very easy, but complicated at the same time. I would have just retold the whole story, and I would have fixed all the plot holes that the show had, and make the story more cohesive, simpler than what we were given. And the films, by the way, do that. The problem is they don't do a good enough job of it. It's kind of a lazy cut and paste, I should say, to kind of fix the holes of the story to make it easier to digest for non-fans. God dang it, camera. Stop auto-focusing. What if I do this? Watch my camera blow up. So basically, while I'm doing the stream, I have to stare in one direction. I can't be too animated. I'm gonna have to figure out why that's happening. Okay, but yeah, to answer your question. I would just have retold the whole story. They made a lot of cool new scenes. I would just made up brand new scenes for everything, or do it what Evangelion did, which is like kind of start with the first film similar to the anime, like almost beat for beat, and then slowly transition to a whole completely different story, which they were doing, but they didn't commit to it fully. So there is that. The Saiyan Prophet, welcome, dude. I like the thumbnail there, or thumbnail. I'm sorry, channel art. Your channel, your profile picture, I guess you would say, the little like circle thing. Don't ask. I'm not. I'm not into what it's called, but you know what I mean. All right, so let's get into the actual film. Now, I will say about the movie, it's not very how do I put this? This may not take that long because there isn't a whole lot of new things in this film compared to say the other two, especially Initiation, because this film is basically the first 17 episodes minus a couple things here and there. So I don't know like exactly how long it will take to go through, but I don't imagine it's going to take that long because again, this film is it's pretty basic. My overall thoughts about the film before we get into like specific details is that it's it's kind of strangely paced. They spent about I think 30 to 40 minutes. I have it marked in my notes. We'll get into that in a second. But they spent a lot of time in the first like three episodes, and then they just kind of like go really fast to the last several because the purpose of these films was to basically they wanted to make sure they show the first scenes of Lelouch getting the Geass power. They want to make sure Naruto was shown, and then the Toto's rescue, and everything else is kind of like rushed in between. Like they don't show you what happened to Saitama Ghetto. Obviously, Miles not in the story. They don't show you. I'm trying to what's it. Yeah, Miles on the story. Oh, they changed like the entire setting of how we meet Taizo Kid or Hara. I mean, just stuff like that. So it's a very condensed of those 17 episodes. And again, they focused on some things, but on others, I don't know if I would have gone that direction. Some of the changes I think are fantastic. For example, Colin's bathing scene is removed, and instead they just have a shower scene. And instead of having that, Colin assumes that Lelouch couldn't be Zero because of Nunnally, which I think works. It makes sense. And because they did, they had to change other stuff in the story too. Basically, when you watch this film, and every film like this, the basically for the three of them, you're going to notice that the cuts are not just there for the sake of it. They thought this through to an extent, so I'll give them credit, but it still was kind of lazily done. I'll give an example of what I mean. So there's a scene where Lelouch is sitting on a bench and Colin approaches him and asks him about like the person on the phone, and then he grabs her face because C2 happens to be walking around and Shirley sees this. In the film, it's not there because Colin wasn't in the shower. Lelouch didn't talk to her. There was no phone call, so you can't have that scene in the movie. So they had to remove it and instead insert other scenes of Shirley, like showing interest in Lelouch. They had to basically almost hand fish Shirley into doing that, which is kind of frustrating because I think she deserved better. But in that context, I understand the greater scheme of why Shirley's in this universe or what they do with her, but I would have done a better job with that. So I guess we can get started with the just going through the film. But again, it's basically the first 17 episodes. A couple changes here and there, but it follows the same story. One thing else they start off with, which I think is great, I mentioned before. Actually, one second, hide that real quick. Okay, one thing they start off, which I think is great, is that you see instead of seeing the flashback in stage 17 where Lelouch wakes up from his exile or dreaming about the exile, here it just goes right into the exile, which I think is perfect. If you're just starting out this trilogy or this series, I guess IP is a better word, and you've never seen it before, I think it's good to start with the exile rather than show it in some kind of flashback scene, which is works. And I like this new image of Pendragon. It is brand new. So Lelouch, again, as you guys know, he walks in, he talks to Nunnally about, or his father about having the Nunnally, and of course her mother. They mentioned, by the way, that Nunnally is of course crippled. They can't marry her off, and it's bad. And they're trying to figure out who the hell did it, and also the Ashfords are doomed as well. So there's that. And Lelouch is like, what happened to my mother? Why don't you care about her? That sort of thing. And Charles is, of course, I don't care. You never existed, Lelouch. You only existed because of me. The classic speech he gave in stage 7. So that's again nothing particularly new there. After Lelouch exiles him to Japan, we see this great scene, and I mean it's really cool because it has all the royal family members who were there at the time when Lelouch was exiled. Now, in this image here, you can see Maribel, who's brand new in a sense because Maribel was an Oz of the Reflection, so she's not in the original anime. And that's another reason why they should have just remade the entire story in the films because you can incorporate more Oz of the Reflection and Akito into the universe. They have a couple scenes here and there, but they could have really gone all out with it. And they didn't really do that here. They kind of like did patchwork. So the films were a little lazily put together, which I think is a common consensus among people who watch the films. And they're also horribly paced. Now, I may have known this before, but I'm pretty sure Schneisel's not here. This is Clovis, by the way. There's Cornelia, Catherine. I keep getting her name wrong. Not it. Yuffie, Maribel. I forgot her name. I think Odysseus in the back there. Let's see if we go further here. Yeah, it's all the royal family members. I'm not sure who that is, but it's kind of cute how Yuffie, she wants to go help out, and Cornelia's like, you can, and she's really upset because we know that Yuffie was really close to Lelouch, and not only so, yeah, the whole royal family's watching their exile. It's a very like sad, but it's a great scene though. Like we should have had this in the original anime. Definitely a good addition to it. And I don't have the image here, but I'm pretty sure I took it. I'm sure I grabbed it later on. Yeah. So you see like Jeremiah. This is Dalton rather, and Jeremiah before they're sent off to Japan because they both love them equally. Which is why I mentioned before in my R1 review that when Lelouch kills Dalton almost mercilessly, I'm like, dude, this guy loved you guys. And same with Jeremiah. There was such a devotion to the royal family, and the fact that Lelouch treated them both like kind of crap, especially Dalton, was I don't know. I'm not a big fan of that. But anyways, we see them transported, and we had this cool transition from like the dark, I said nighttime in Japan to daytime, and then we see this scene of Lelouch carried Nelly up the stairs. Now, if you guys don't know, this is actually from a picture drama in R1 where they show them walking the stairs, but here they actually animated. And you know what? Again, I have no complaints. And we see Kaguya, Taizo, Genbu, and of course Suzaku. So it's kind of cool. Like this scene obviously happened in the original anime, but it's good to actually they got it animated. This is one of the benefits of going back through your original stuff and adding new things in there because this was not in the original anime. But yeah, there is that. Also, it's important to note that Lelouch takes care of Nunnally. Again, this is an audio drama, so not stated here, but just an FYI. When he takes care of Nunnally, he doesn't let the guards interact with her or anything like that because well, I believe the reason is because he didn't trust them, and they only were there for like bargaining. The guards were only there to make sure they could be bargaining chips, but they didn't really care about their health and well being. So I believe that's why Luch takes care of Nelly by himself, and no one else gets involved until of course Suzaku. But you guys know how that went. All right, so then we see the traditional opening where Japan was conquered in a month, but because of Sakuradite stuff, we don't see. By the way, C2 looking at them. We don't see them climbing up the hill. I guess they removed that for time purposes. And then when we see Luch talking to Suzaku, and I'm still confused about this, he says nothing. In the original anime, he goes, "I'm going to destroy Britannia." Here, he just looks at Suzaku. I don't have the image here, but he's just staring at him like, I don't know why they removed that. It was the weirdest thing. But they did. So that part doesn't happen in the story. This scene here, in case you guys didn't know, this is actually from a picture drama. I believe it is it 23? I think this is 23 picture drama. I'm not sure. I think it's a 20. Here, let me look it up real quick. Let's see. I could become 22. Let's see. Is it 23? What's going on here? Why do I have it subtitled? Yeah, here, I was right. Look at that. See? It's right here. This is 20. This is picture drama 23. So they took the images from 23 and they actually put them in. Sorry, they put them here, which I think I'll say a good positive thing about that. That makes perfect sense because after their conversation here, this literally was an accident that transpired. This whole scene here, where Luch tells Suzaku that we're going to go off to the Ashfords, we're getting new identities, and Suzaku's like, I'm going to the military. So this made sense because the two did depart ways after this point. So if you were going to tell the story chronologically in order, you would have this scene and then the picture drama. So again, kudos to them for keeping the timelines, keeping the timelines in order and not having to do too many flashbacks. And I also like the music here too. It's cool. It's the original intro, of course, and this stuff is cool too, like the logo and stuff. All right, let's move on here, and then we see this this is the picture drama when Lelouch first meets Suzaku. So if you're keeping score here, it's this story where he climbs those stairs, he meets Suzaku, and he punches him in the face. He calls him like stupid Britannian Brit or whatever. This is another flashback. I believe this is actually, I don't think it was in the story. It might have been, but I know that I think in the ending scenes of each episode, this is one of the pictures you saw. It might have been in 16 when they were was it 16 or 17 when they were kids? I forget which one in R1. Uh, or maybe it was R2 when in 17. Hold on, I'm gonna do a quick search because now I'm like going through memory lane now. What was it? 17? There's a bunch of episodes where they go back in the past. Let me see. Let me just take a look here. I don't want to waste you guys. Let me stare at this crap. I'm gonna take a look. I think it was 16 or 17, right before they met up in the at the Kurorugi Shrine. Give me a second here. Okay, so I got one thing confused. In R2, this is where you saw this. This is 17 from R2. Now, in terms of when we saw her and him in the rain with her, I don't know. It must have been an ending sequence, one of the arcs ending sequence. I keep forgetting. I don't want to go too far into this rabbit hole. Yeah. It's an R1. If you watch R1, see, here's an example of one. See, I opened it twice because it's one of those. Okay, that's what I thought. All right, cool. Now we're done with the references. Let's keep going here. And then we see, of course, Lelouch as a kid, although I would have had this one maybe earlier since this happened before, but that's Lelouch, Marion, and Nunnally, and another image from the end of the R1 episodes, like the series of, I guess you could say, pre-drama-like images. So that's what they're showing here. There, it's a creative way to kind of take into the picture dramas and just again get you ready for the film. So if you're like never seen Code Geass, I think this is actually a pretty good way to get you there. Anyhow, the film takes place. It starts the same way as the original does. Once we get through the whole opening stuff, same terrorist chase between the Britannians and the terrorists. Lelouch comes in to help his friend win the chess game. Still unsure who the hell this guy is, but apparently he's a good tailor because he makes the Zero suit later on in the story. They never explain who the hell this guy is, but so he plays him in chess. He then beats him, and then Clovis does the traditional, I'm filled with rage and all that stuff. Like I'm trying to make the classic, like he's trying to act like almost a victim here. Like I'm trying to make Britannia a good place and Japan specifically, and all this stuff's awful. And I want a good place for 11s and Japanese and all that stuff, and Britannians and Collins. Like, stop it. We're not 11s, we're Japanese. Then the classic Lucius in front of he tells the same. Yeah, this one here. If the king doesn't lead, how can he expect the subordinates to follow? He goes in front of the truck and causes the traditional car accident. I like when he says, "Did we cause that? No, it's not our fault." So yeah, was that our fault? Nah, it wasn't our fault. So funny. It always gets me every single time. But again, it's the same basic plot as the first episode. They didn't really change a whole lot. There might have been some subbing differences, though. I was noticing when I was watching it, they might have changed some of the wording of what certain characters said. I have to verify this later on, but there were certain translations that were kind of odd to me. It could just be a very minor thing. But I was like, wait, did they say that in the original? Okay, I guess they did. Just differently worded. So Lelouch, of course, crashed into a truck, and I believe the music here is different. In the film, they changed some of the music. I don't know what the specific reason was, but some of the music is different. Like when he goes in the truck here, I believe the song is different from what it was in the original anime. Again, nothing too crazy. Again, Colin has to go fight out the nightmare frames. Well, actually, it's the helicopters which release the nightmare frames when Jeremiah joins the battle. But yeah, it's that classic chase scene. Oh my god, it's Slash Harkin. It's a nightmare. And she takes them out, and then Jeremiah gets involved, and it's not going well because the glass skull is old and inferior, according to Jeremiah, and she has to fire her arm off, the nightmare frame arm. And Jeremiah, she gets away after that. Lucian, in the meantime, figures out where the hell they're going, which is actually pretty smart. And then this scene's great, where Lloyd's like, "You screwed it up, didn't you? You messed up, so you want to see what the terrorist and of course what you did." And he's like, "You figured it out, Cecile." And she's like, "Well, I mean, it was kind of obvious." And of course, Bartley's upset because he screwed up. I think early on too, they said like, "Oh, Bartley's handling the whole operation," and they're like, "Bartley, oh god," because they're, he's one of the worst generals in the story. He's not I was gonna say he's not a bad person, but he kind of is. Compared to everyone else, though, he's probably tame, but he's still not a good person. So when he died, I was like, yeah, I feel nothing. Then we get all the honor Britannians are sent into combat. Specifically, Suzaku is the one of note, and obviously he stops Lelouch. And they're like, "Oh, it's you!" And there's no flashback scene, by the way. You know how in the first episode they show the flashback when they first met. I guess they don't show that here because time. Otherwise, I'm not sure why they wouldn't do that. Then C2, of course, gets out of her classic that thing that was holding her, that pod, and they thought it was poisonous gas, but it wasn't. The classic, well, it's classic, but that misunderstanding, because again, Barley knew it was C2, no one else did. They thought it was gas. We see Colin in the glass scope. By the way, someone asked a question on Discord: do the pilots get sweaty and stuff while inside? Well, Colin is very sweaty here, as you can see. There's marks here and there. So yeah, the nightmare frames can be a little hot to pilot. I do imagine though, and I could be wrong, that there's probably some kind of cooling system in there. But still, though, I'm sure it gets quite hot in the heat of battle. Especially at Glasgow, which is which is an older model. So I'm sure they hadn't perfected all the systems yet. I would imagine though, like the Shinkiro or anything like 7th generation above, probably they have a much better cooling system to make the pilots more comfortable while in there. Anything below is probably terrible. I'm sure the first Glasgows were terrible too. They must have been like a heat wave in there. But you get all those electronic mechanicals operation. Hold on. The electronics running, that's what I meant to say. I'm sure it was a very hot system. Even with all the cooling fans they must have had. Then again, I'm not sure how the nightmare frames work, so that's pure speculation. Anywho, so after that, you see Colin again. She's there. She's calling about what's going on there. Nagato is it Nagato? Yeah, Nagato's in bad shape. I think Naoto is her brother. I always get those names confused. Naoto, he's in bad shape. And then Lucia's trying to figure it out. Like, wait a minute, we said poison gas. Why is this girl here? Eventually, the guards come. They're like, you've done great, Honor Britannian. Now, I want you to kill this man. And they're like, wait, why would I do that? Kill him. And then, of course, he says no, and they shoot Suzaku instead. Which is, yeah, it just shows you how they feel about Suzaku and Honor Britannians. To be fair, this guy is kind of a piece of crap, so no real surprise there that he would shoot Suzaku. Lucius is about to die because he, I guess, wrong place at wrong time. And then Nagato blows it up. And it's a blast that shoots upwards, which allows Lelouch and C2 to get away. And then, of course, we get the classic, man, if C2 gets out, I'm going to lose my inheritance. So let's just kill everybody. Clovis. Man, there's a reason why no one likes him. The irony is so funny, though, because Charles already knew about C2. So the fact that he thought he wouldn't know about her is funny because Charles already knew and he was looking for her too. If Charles had known that Clovis had her this whole time, man, he would have grabbed it from her or grabbed it from him rather. But anyway, we get the whole destruction of the Shinjuku ghetto, and Jeremiah's out there in combat killing innocent people because hey, he hasn't been in the battlefield a long time. I get it, but like, ugh, pretty disgusting stuff. He's running with C2. She falls over because they haven't fully taken out the thing off her. And hey, Lloyd's upset because they don't have someone to actually operate their land slot, which sucks. And then because of Shirley, they get caught, and he's going to kill Lelouch. And then, but C2 takes the bullet right there. That's an interesting stop of the image there. But yeah, she takes the bullet. And then, let's see. Right, she touches him. He makes the contract, Ragnarok connection, all that stuff. He says yes. And then Geass all them to die. And that's how the first episode. That's how the first part of the movie ends. And that's, just for some perspective, they spent 22 minutes on the first episode. So this is about a 2-hour film, and 22 minutes were for the first episode. Since each episode is about 25 minutes, they basically didn't change anything from the first episode. But granted, you can't do that for the rest of the episodes because it would be a lot longer than 2 hours. So you're going to see some cutting very shortly. So then the movie, because it's a movie, there's no commercial break or excuse me, there's no commercial break or like ending credits. We go right into the next events where you see immediately Villetta coming in there and saying, what happened here? And Lelouch realized he can't use Geass on her because, Geass doesn't work on nightmare frames. So he tricks her to come out of the nightmare frame saying he's some kind of Alan Spacer. Not a noble. What do you say he was? Not a noble. I forgot what the term he used. But anyways, he used the Geass on Villetta to get the Nightmare frame. He memorized this number, by the way, which is I've always think is kind of funny because if it was me, I would have forgotten immediately. I might have gotten the first two, but that after that, I would have definitely forgotten. I would have asked her to just write it down for me. Like, hey, can you give me your just write down the code? I'm gonna forget it. But Lelouch obviously has a good memory because he figured out he remembered it, so that was kind of cool. A minor thing, but I always like that part. She has no memory of what happened, which makes sense. Suzaku wakes up and he's alive, thankfully, because of the stopwatch. And then eventually he gets the Lancelot. They skip a lot of scenes here of the reveal of Lancelot. I guess it doesn't really matter, but they don't really show the unveiling of it. They just say, "Hey, we'll give you a Lancelot," and that's it. I'm pretty sure there's a scene where Cecile goes like, your life will never change or be the same because of it, which is very true. Good foreshadowing by Cecile in that one. Colin is again showing fighting off the Britannians as they kill more and more innocent Japanese people as part of what did Clovis call it? Urban renewal? I think it was called urban renewal. Then Lelouch calls Shirley, which is exactly the same as the second episode rather, and he decides to help out the terrorists. First with Colin to get her safe from Jeremiah and Villetta, and also to take out Jeremiah, since he used Sutherland to take out the one accompanying Jeremiah, and then through a distraction, Colin takes him out. Then, of course, they open up all the train car that Colin happened to be on top of, and bam, look at that. Lots of Sutherlands, and they take all of them to go into battle. He uses Gurn as a not Gurn, sorry, not there yet. The Glasgow as a what's the word? Bait. That's the wrong term, but as bait to get everyone to go after her, so that they could take out the Sutherlands, which is what happens here. Basically, they laid a trap for them. I forgot what the actual term was. I'm all over the place today. And he keeps going, like, are you moving at P5? And Tamaki's like, ugh, God, I hate this guy, man. Who knew Tamaki, the guy who initially mistrusted Lelouch, I think the most, would be like his biggest fan towards the end of the series. So I guess he had character growth then, or he's just an idiot. You choose whatever you like. Yeah, monkeys play at being human. Yeah, Clovis is definitely a piece of crap. It's funny too because when he dies later on, you see like it's not in the film, but in the show, Yuffie was like, "Oh, look at these paintings; they're beautiful." Clovis has such a touch, such a kind soul and a good heart. I'm like, ugh, I don't know about that. He must have changed because he's not a good person here. Even Bartley was okay with him murdering all those people. That's why I have issues with Bartley as a character because I think he is sympathetic. He ends up finding like the whole conspiracy and the Ragnarok connection, but he also like was okay with Britannian killing lots of people. So it's like you got the good and the bad there with that guy. All right. So, anyways, during the Lelouch's attempt here to take out all the Britannian forces, it's not going well, by the way, because they went underground and he took them all out there. I believe we're a little ahead of myself there. I always forget that. Yeah. So first, Lloyd says, "Hey, you want our help?" And they're like, "No, get away. My brother's forces are not interesting or not needed." And eventually, once Lelouch takes out all their troops here because they break formation, because Clovis is an idiot, he's like, "Hey, let's just surround all the forces," because clearly the enemy hasn't figured that out yet. Lelouch, love that smile, takes them all out. And then Suzaku gets in there. Now, this is a brand new scene in the episode. I forgot to mention in my all differences, but this is a brand new scene where you see, this background's new. The G1 base, which I think is actually a pretty good shot of it. When Suzaku gets into the Lancelot, they show like new images of it. I'll show what I mean. So when it comes off there, let's see. The way this is the same, but yeah, that's brand new, I believe. This is brand new, this angle here. And then when it takes off, I don't have it. Do I have I might have it towards the, okay, one second. Bear with me here for a second. I have the image. I should. I used it. Yeah, here. So in the original anime, there was just a blank screen here. It was just buildings. There wasn't a bridge or anything. But in the films, they added this whole background, which I think is much cooler. This sounds to me like something where they just had no time to put in it when they first made the series, but this was a lot better. So kudos to them for making a better opening for the Lancelot. All right, now let's get back to where we were. Really cool stuff. Okay. Did I skip ahead? I did. Okay. So just like the first second episode, he stops all the fighting. He eventually runs into Colin to save Lelouch. Lelouch gets away, and before they have a chance to kill everyone in the warehouse, Lelouch is able to get in there, use Geass on this random guy. See, there's literally Geass on his eye, by the way. It's red. So CBR, you guys fudged up. If you don't know what I'm talking about, I can discuss it later on. But before they kill everyone, Lelouch tells him, "Hey, don't do that because I'll kill you." And he's like, "Great." And then he says to him, "Hey, it's me, Lelouch. Remember, I've returned." And because there's no commercial, there's no episode ending, we just go right into what happens afterwards, where he uses Gyatho to find out what happened to his mother. And Clovis says, "Well, I mean, Schneisel and Cornelia would know," which is weird because neither one did. So Clovis is really dumb because the Geass makes you answer honestly. So he really believed that those two would know something, even though they had no knowledge, which is really funny to me. After shooting him, he wakes up. Well, not wakes up, but they transition to him being in high school, where Millie is smacking him in the head with a paper. And then Shirley's like, "What happened yesterday?" And Ribble's like, "Yeah, you ditched me and stuff." And well, they didn't really answer. They never really actually addressed what happened. Instead, we just move on to talking about the budget. So we go from again this to this. This Ribble pose. I don't know how I feel about it. Millie points out that Shirley has a massive rack and that she's really hot. And of all things they kept in the film, I don't know why what they kept. I don't know why they kept this scene. I think it was unnecessary. You could have easily skipped this. I think you could just have talking about the budget and just moving on. There was no need to have this scene or most of the scene in the film. If you are pressed for time and you don't want to have fan service, which the films don't generally have, this scene's a little perplexing to me. It's not complicated; it's perplexed. Then we have Villetta and Jim are talking about what happened with Clovis. So again, they're going to make their move. Villetta's face that expression. That's a bad pause. She's like, "Oh God, it implies something else that's not happening in the scene." So there's that. Again, the Colin situation. We're in episode 3, by the way. If you want some stats here, I believe. Hold on. So the 52 minutes, by the way, is no, I'm sorry, 40 minutes and 35 seconds is how long they spent in the first 2 episodes. So again, not too many additions or subtractions. They kept it pretty consistent, like the most of the film. But later on, though, you're gonna see they cut like crazy. So we go through Colin's not backstory, but the fact that she's been sick this whole time. But Lelouch recognized her from that girl who piloted the Gurren. I keep saying the Gurren, the Glasgow the other day. He used Geass on her to find out why she did what she did. And the films don't show, basically, they don't show Shirley coming involved to break up the awkward tension. Where Luke is talking to Colin, when the Geass doesn't work again, you don't see Shirley trying to break it up. I think Shirley, was she even watching them? I don't recall her even being watching them at the time. So they cut a lot of stuff out there. Then he comes home, see Nellie. Nothing really different with this episode. It's about the same. I believe they even had their conversation after C2 is they moved to Narita. Again, it's something like the same thing like the original episode 3. Nothing really different there. They even have photos of C2 when she was in World War II, which I would love to see an OVA, by the way. If the people who make Code Geass we should make new content, and I'm like, I agree. We should have backstory OVAs for our characters. Like C2 has an entire history, and we know very little despite having a prequel manga, a one-shot manga, and also even flashback to C2, we still know very little. I would have loved to see an OVA where it goes through everything. Since we have all the manga now available, Renya and Aza Reflection, why not just have an OVA of C2 throughout her entire life, how she got from where she was to where she is at the beginning of R1. Even R1 would have been fine. But anyway, that's C2 in World War II mode, or Code Geass' version of World War II. Obviously, it's a different timeline and all that stuff, different universe. It's the classic. What do you want, Nelly? When your eyes when you can see again or something? Well, actually, Lelouch said that. She's like, he just asked her, "What do you want?" She said, "It will be a gentler place." And Lelouch is like, "Well, when you see again, I'm sure it will be. I will never lie to you, Nelly." And of course, he discusses how in their current situation, they can't be sheltered forever. They might be used as pawns later on in the future. So there is that. Yeah, see, we're either political tools or the prey of people's conspiracies. So Is not only like is hopefully they live happily ever after. Lelouch knows that's never really going to happen. Hence why he's doing this whole thing to begin with. There's Colin talking about how she hates her current situation, and Ogie's telling her to lay low because things are on high alert right now. And of course, the voice. Colin, by the way, suspects Lelouch is Zero, or the guy in the voice. He's not Zero yet, but you know what I mean. They had an extra scene here, which I'm not really sure what the purpose was, but when the Sutherlands come in there to break into I guess where the transport with Clovis's body, you see these new Sutherlands right here, and like this shot right here. I don't know why they put that in the film. I guess to give context, like where they came from, but I thought it was pretty obvious the Sutherlands like came from above off airships to take out the forces. I don't know like why they had to show the purebloods fighting the regular Britannian forces. I mean, it's a cool scene. I just don't know what was the purpose behind it. I thought it was pretty obvious. Maybe they sneak some dialogue in here. I don't know. And of course, they don't understand how Bartley doesn't remember what happened because Geass was used on him, so he has no clue that he was manipulated. That's why he's just as confused as everyone else. But Jeremiah's like, that's bullcrap. And honestly, from his perspective, that kind of makes sense. When Lelouch and Colin meet up again to discuss about, what happened. Also, I think they skipped that scene also from here. Yeah, it looks like it. Yeah, I think they skipped that scene. It doesn't really matter. You know why they're meeting up anyways. So they're here to talk about what happened, and then eventually Shirley interrupts it because she finds Nina's lost chip, which I've always joked they should get rid of that because, how do I put this? That thing will eventually lead to the Flea, and we know how that went out, how it works out. We see Millie bringing all the food, and then that's how Colin gets inducted into the student council. And there's not only... Now here's what happens. Because we don't have the entire scene of Colin in the shower, figuring out that Lucy isn't Zero from a recording. I keep saying Zero, it's the voice. So they don't have that scene. So what they decided to do instead was have a global announcement that Clovis died. And so you see the footage here, but you don't see the student council watching it because if Colin didn't go in the shower, then Lelouch and Colin wouldn't have walked to the student council room and they wouldn't have seen the video, the TV playing. So they decided to remove all that and just have what you see here, a broadcast of it. You don't see anyone respond to it, but I'm going to assume they did watch it. It's a little confusing, but yeah, that's what went down in that episode there. We're now done with 3, and we're on to episode 4. And this is the classic Jeremiah situation where they rescue the hostages, rescue the hostage, which is Suzaku. There's only one hostage. Well, technically there's a bunch, but they weren't initially there when they started. That's the people who surrounded the convoy. So this is the whole frame up with Suzaku, and then see Lelouch and Ellie talking about it, and she's saying, Suzaku obviously didn't do this, right? And Lelouch is like, of course not. So they were watching this, they just didn't show us because, again, the continuity would have been kind of weird. And of course, we found out that Lloyd and Cecile can't do anything about it, even though he's an honorary Britannian. This is a new scene, by the way. This is one I mentioned before. So a lot of important things are done in this to kind of like save time in the film. So first of all, Colin reveals that Lelouch isn't the one who is the person the voice because of not only then Ogi reveals that he was contacted by the voice to say Suzaku Kudarugi. And next time we see these people together, it's going to be on the train. They don't even go to Tokyo Tower. And they had to do that because in Tokyo Tower, it's a very minor note, but you might remember when they were on there, I believe it was either Ogi or Kento said, hey, maybe Suzaku contacted us to rescue him. I know it seems kind of weird, but because Ogi says, well, actually, we were contacted to save Suzaku. They already know going ahead of time what the plan is. You can't have them discuss hearsay that it could be Suzaku who contacted them because we know it's not from this scene. So they had to cut that out for continuity purposes. And also, they don't have to go to Tokyo Tower now to go to the train. They just go straight to the train. So they cut out like a bunch of scenes and simplified a lot of the plot with this little 5-second thing. So again, it's pretty good, but I would have preferred to just remake everything. I guess when you're lazy and you don't have a lot of time, this is what happens. I'm sure you guys know this whole scene. Clovis, they had a video package for him when he passed away. And they're also going to have this whole ceremony of having Suzaku transported in front of all the Japanese people, even though we know how that works out. I mean, I think in theory, a lot of people criticize this whole plan, and I still think it's fine because, again, Geass is something that no one knew it existed at the time, so they could never anticipate that could happen. But I mean, besides Lucius and Geass, there was no way anyone could have came in there to break it up. I mean, even if the Japanese people tried to revolt, they have like Solons everywhere; they would have been wiped out. And the JLF at the time wasn't strong enough to do anything, and it's been pretty much stated several times that they don't have the I guess you term the resolve to do it. So no matter what happened, I think nothing would have occurred. It's just that Lelouch happens to have Geass, which was the factor that gave him the chance to do it. So I know people complain about that scene, but I still, even after years later, I still don't see a problem with it. See, now we're on the train because again, that's I mentioned before. Why they're there. They're on the train. We meet Lelouch as Zero, and of course he has that outfit. We don't see the scene of him using the gas on that guy, so not to tell anyone that he made the suit for him. I don't think that's in here, but I believe it was episode 4, so I think they cut that out, which is fine. It was superfluous anyways. And so he wants them all to, form a team, even though half of them don't believe this could work out. Then we go to the bridge, and I believe none of this is new. This is the same stuff from the previous episode. And yeah, so Nellie's, of course, nervous about this because, she likes Suzaku from their childhood, which, if you saw in the beginning of the film, they did a good job of showing those scenes as well. So good stuff there. That was probably the other reason, too. They wanted to, again, establish how Suzaku, not only Lelouch, were very close as children. And they did a pretty good job of that with the picture dramas they showed at the beginning, and also, they weren't just the picture dramas. I'm not sure what else I'm talking about there. But yeah, so it's going on, and eventually where is it? So eventually Lelouch appears in the car. I might have missed something here. Oh yeah, Kage is shown in this scene. I don't know if she was like that originally. I kind of forgot about that. I love Detard says here, what a sham. And I'm corrupt as the rest of them. Because the whole thing is a joke as Suzaku is being transported. Because we know he was framed. He didn't kill Clovis. Because Lelouch did, obviously. And of course, the people are going back and forth about, like, the people are either happy or angry at him. Actually, a lot of people seem to be angry from those chants that I just saw. And then, of course, this is so annoying. Every time in this episode that things go well for Lelouch, Colin, and Ogi, Tomoki's like, nah, this is garbage. It's a coincidence. He's an idiot. Man, again, Tomoki, he went from the most skeptical person to the most loyal. It's kind of funny. Also, the art here is really silly. I don't know. It's especially Naomi's face. But anyways, while this happens, eventually they have like their mock version of Clovis' car drive by, and Jeremiah's like, we got a comedian over here. So he approaches them, and then Lelouch, obviously, he's in the Zero suit. Like, oh, Zero, like as in nothing. And everyone's confused what the hell's going on. And of course, he reveals, I believe, the gas. Does he do it after or before he says that he killed Clovis? Okay, it was before. That's right. So he's like, yeah, I got the gas here, and we'll trade for Suzaku. He's like, we can't do that because, Suzaku is the one who killed Clovis. And Lucius is like, no, the one... yeah, F an amateur. That's because the guy wouldn't bring a camera to Zero's face, and Detard's like, come on, dude, it's a scoop of the century. Let me show you how it's done. But where I was saying before was Jeremiah's like, we can't give up Suzaku. He killed Clovis. And he's like, no, I killed Clovis. And they're like, oh my God, what a reveal. They couldn't believe that was the case. And then eventually he used Geass on him, as you see right there, to get Jeremiah to betray everybody, which he does. And I believe they might have skipped a couple beats here from the original, but not a whole lot. It's exactly how you remember it. They stopped the whole Jeremiah rest, make sure they'll get away. Woods looked back. He took up both Villetta and Lord Keel, who are loyal purebloods. At the end of it all, Tomke's like, geez, that was bull. It was a bluff. How many of those could work? And they're like, dude, could you have done that? Again, Tomke, will you piss off? And then he tells Suzaku, it was pretty rough what happened, what they did to you. Please join me. And he's like, yeah, but you were to kill people. And Zero's like, well, no, it was just a bluff. But it's the results, right? Well, I don't care about the result. I mean, that's what you care about. So I would rather die than live that way. And this is a very controversial scene because there's a joke or a question: if he dies, how can he make change from within? Well, the explanation is it's more about following the rules, even to the very end. That's basically how it works. Yes, technically speaking, he could make change from within if he was to die at this point. But Suzaku also believes that he won't break the laws. And I believe he also mentions too that if he doesn't take his court martial, they might hurt other 11. So he's literally saving his life. He's sacrificing his life for other people, which I think is actually a fair point. Because if he doesn't go through his court martial, won't they attack other 11s who could have been or frame other 11 for killing Clovis? That's actually a very good point. Then of course C2 comes up in front of Nully. I don't think I have the image of it, but she does. And again, no commercial break, or I mean, no ending credits because we're going to episode 5 now. Just for some perspective, the first hour of this movie. So think about this for a second, right? This film is 2 hours long. 1 hour into the film is the first 4 episodes. So, yeah, you already know. Okay, so let's continue here. So this is the same scene as before. Lelouch comes into his house and he's surprised to see C2 because she took a bullet to the head. And then of course they talk about their contract, how Lelouch and C2 have a look at his face. Anyways, Lelouch and C2 have a an agreement together, and of course Nelly's like, "What, you mean like marriage?" And Lelouch is like, "No, no, no, not like marriage. It's nothing like that, and it's not serious." And she's like, well, ooh, again, what's with these pauses? But I mean, I made them, so I must have been like, I mean, what I did was I have like a thing that like just does like every couple seconds picks an image. So I guess this is where we ended up with. C2 looks so weird in this image. I can't like, it's just, it's really weird. uh, I mean, it's almost boyish. Is that just me, or is her face like almost boyish here? Anyhow, with that chin. I'm sorry, I got off track. The point I'm trying to make is that they go up to Lucius' bedroom to talk about what's going on, and they talk about the Geass power and all that wonderful thing you remember from the original episode. Now, what's kind of interesting, I noticed rather, when they're talking about destroying Britannia and Geass power and all that stuff. He tells her like, where are you going to go now and stuff. Are you going to where are you gonna go? And she was saying that like, well, I mean, I'll stay here. And he's like, isn't the military coming after you? And now this is a part that I didn't realize. She says that a small portion of the military is looking. She specifically said, I put a note of it. I thought it was interesting. A small part of the military. Now we know that Charles is looking for her, and Charles runs the entire country. So the very notion this was a small part of the military was already a lie. So C2 basically lied to Lelouch like immediately. Excuse me. I don't know why I never noticed that before, but that was literally a lie because it wasn't the small mom military looking after C2. It was Charles is looking for her. That is the military. So even the very onset of their meeting, she lied to him. So the more you know. So we get a little bonus scene here, and this bonus scene serves really one purpose. You remember how when I complained in turn 19 that when Schneizel tries to convince the Black Knights that about Geass power, and does a terrible job in my opinion, but the story has to pretend like he did, so the Black Knights naturally betray him, betray Lelouch. Well, here this scene essentially shows us that Schneizel was aware of Code R early on in the story. So when he presents to the Black Knights about Geass and stuff, he's got more validity. I still don't buy it though because no evidence was actually presented here. It's hearsay in my opinion, but at least they tried to establish that Schneizel at least knew about Geass power. So when he discusses it with the Black Knights, it makes more sense because in the show it just came out of nowhere. He's like, "Yeah, I knew about Geass power this whole time." Like, really? Did you? And the movie's like, "Yeah, he did. He totally did. Here's the proof." This throwaway scene. It also discussed like his plan to show it off to Charles and stuff. So it's a good scene. It's just that a little forced, but they had to put that in there to clean up a lot of plot holes in the story. A lot of scenes are done for that reason in these films. We get back to the original part where you see them talking about Orange and he made it up and is this what he wanted with the chaos and stuff? And Lucia's like, nope, the world is going to go on to even greater chaos. It's just a one small step in a greater scheme. They cut out most of Suzaku and Yuffie, and the reason why is because in the film they cut out the whole pure blood fighting that happens in the Shinjuku ghetto, and they just took out that whole part. There's no feuding amongst the pure bloods. I think there is some discussion about how they're not liked, but the feuding's all been removed. Like in stage 7 when they're like waiting to come to the Saitama ghetto, and I believe Kyoto is like angry at Jeremiah, not in the movie, so they cut that out. Same thing here, by the way. They're hanging out, and they're kind of confused about why that's going on. But that's it. They move right past it, and we get into C2 talking to Lelouch about Geass power, and then Barley's being transported to the homeland. I don't know why they reversed the order of these scenes. I guess I'm not really sure why. I was about to give an explanation, but I have no clue. Then they go right to Lelouch, C2 talking about how Geass power worked, and notice how once they talk about he said like is it wrong to be weak or something, or is it good to be strong? Normally, what would have happened here was you would have seen Suzaku and Euphemia talking at the Shinjuku ghetto and having their conversation about the same topic, but they skip right to that. And instead, we just see a new scene of it looks like Suzaku and Euphemia, and then Arthur is there as well. I don't see Arthur here. It might be in the beginning. Instead of me scrolling through all these images, I'm just going to go to the file. Excuse me, I mean the folder and grab it that way. I'm pretty sure, yeah, right here. See, there's the cat, and he's like, "Wait, you're a princess? Thanks a lot." Yeah, see, wait, Yuffie's a princess because he had no idea. So they cut out the entire pure blood fighting. None of that happens. They never go to the ghetto. Does this ruin the story? No, I don't think you had to include that. I think the fight between Jeremiah and the purebloods is really cool, but from a story perspective, all you have to establish that Yuffie meets that Suzaku knows Yuffie is a princess, Arthur is into the story, and that's all that matters. The rest of it is unnecessary. So that change doesn't bother me. Then they transitioned to, I believe, Cornelia landing. I'm not sure why they have a new scene of her landing in the airship. I think it's really cool, but I'm not sure what the significance of that addition was, which is right here. Again, really cool, but I'm not sure what the purpose was. Then she's, of course, like, where's Zero? And they have no idea. I don't believe she mentions even about her running away, which I guess makes sense because actually it doesn't make sense. Never mind. I was about to say something. I'm like, no, that makes no sense. Anyhow, they move on from this, and we see the scene of this is when Charles is talking to one of his, I guess, Templars. I'm not sure what they're called, about how he talked to Clovis concerning different things in the Sword of Akasha and how Clovis' body was transported to be buried. Then Suzaku joins Ashford Academy, and we're in episode 6. So a lot of stuff has been skipped so far, but nothing, I guess, too crazy. Again, they're taking a lot of parts I guess you don't need in the story. Now, one thing I have to ask, I never thought about this until just now, but when he joins the school, and again, it could be a translation issue, but they're like, wait, but he's an 11. So I was thinking, wait a minute, was Suzaku the first 11 to go to Ashford Academy? I mean, I'm curious. Like, I'll open that question to you guys. Was he the first 11 to go? Because everyone's like, oh my God, an 11's here. Oh my God. I'm like, he must have been the first one. That's a cool fact. I'm making a fact list for Suzaku. I didn't even realize that he's like the first 11 to go to Ashford Academy. At least that's what they were implying here. Also, I like how, again, it's not really related to the films. This is just a story in general. Nina immediately says, but he's an 11. And then they go up and they say he's an honor Britannian. And she goes like, well, it's the same thing. And I'm like, ooh. That was a really good line from Nina because there is a difference between the honor Britannians and the 11s. But because she hates all of them equally, she's just like that guy in the first part of the film who shot Suzaku, where they're all the same in his eyes too. So Nina very subtly shows you how a lot of people felt that even though 11s or any numbers could become honorary Britannians, there's still nothing in their eyes, making the system almost pointless, even though it's not. But a lot of people just don't care what they do; they'll never be equal in their eyes. So it was a very subtle racist scene by Nina, but it already foreshadows how she feels about well, anyone who's not Britannian, I guess you could say. I'm not sure why Rivel told Shirley that she comes off too strong. Honestly, if she approached Suzaku, that would have probably been the better. I think Rivel was being a little mean there. Then, of course, after school, Luce does this, this to get Suzaku to come up to the roof of him. And so they talk about the same thing, C2, the military, and why you were at school to begin with. And it's because Yuffie told him to go. They cut the whole scene out when she looks at the pictures that Clovis drew. A little bit here, but they don't spend too much time with it. They skip a ton of stuff because now we go from talking on the roof to talking to Nunnally. They skipped a bunch of stuff to get to this scene, which again, it's fine. Like, this is episode 6, I believe, so we don't have the whole cat chase. They got rid of that whole part of the episode. Instead, we just have Suzaku talking to Nunnally, which is fine. They don't skip that part. This scene is still kind of weird because she's right next door, but never really bothered me too much. Yeah, see, the cat chase would have happened here. They got rid of it, so instead we just go right to the speech that Charles gives, which is an epic speech. It's one of the best in the entire anime. And it also gives you a good understanding of who Charles is. So I definitely love that part. And again, I love, like I said before when I went through this episode, everyone's expression to the speech. Like Cornelia is in awe, and Yuffie is like depressed. Millie is very serious. Ribble is just like he's loving the whole thing because Ribble's a freak, I guess. So it really explains a lot about the character without saying too much. And again, I still hate this scene because she's like, oh, this is Lucius' enemy. I'm like, C2, you know that. You've been working for him this whole time. Like, what? You guys know how I feel about that. I'm not going to address that problem, which I've stated like ad nauseum at this point. So basically, when this episode ends, 6 and 7 end at the same time because they don't show you the Saitama Ghetto. Essentially, we go to episode 8 because now we have the Black Knights, well, the terrorists joining Zero to become the Black Knights, but that doesn't happen until much later in the story, well, in the films. It happens in this episode in the anime, which is episode 8, but the films, it happens it happens later on. And I still keep glitching in and out. So annoying. So yeah, they're meeting it in this new place, their new get out, and they skip way ahead to Jeremiah and Villetta talking about how there could be a student, and that's it. We move on to episode 10. We're done with 7. We're done with 8. The hostage seat rescue, I think happens, but in a different way, or it doesn't happen. I'm still a little confused about that. I think it doesn't happen, and when they show you the building being sunken by Suzaku and the Lancelot, I assume it's like something else going on in the background because the reveal of the reveal of the Black Knights happens in a different scene and setting. So I'm going to assume the hostage rescue didn't happen, but I'm still a little confused about that. If they never showed the hotel scene at all, I would have assumed that it never happened. But because they show the hotel scene, I'm like thinking either two things: it's different context behind the hotel scene, and there's no rescue, or it happened, but it wasn't the people that were like the main characters were involved in it. I don't know. Either way, we skip that and we go right to when Lucius talking to C2 in the pool. And by the way, one thing important change they made here, and I made note of it. They're talking about vigilantism. They're not talking about the Black Knights because the Black Knights don't exist at this time. She says vigilante. She doesn't say Black Knights. That was not an accident. That was totally on purpose because they're getting people to join the vigilante group. They're not the Black Knights yet. Then we see, of course, this scene where Dieter's like, I got demoted just like you. Now, what's funny is that I thought he was demoted for the camera work in stage 8. So I guess they're saying, well, it was demoted because of stage 4, I guess. Who knows? And we learn here that Dieter has information about Narita and that and that Villetta and Jeremiah think a student caused all the stuff with their memory loss. We get a scene of Shirley following Lelouch as he goes shopping. Again, I guess the purpose is to show that she likes him when they have something going on. If these two were dating, why not show them dating? I know it's like a pretty much established canon that Shirley and Lelouch are dating in this universe, which is great. I have no objections to it, but Why not just show them dating or going on a date or something? And Lucia says, sorry, I got to go. Bye. Well, I'll see you tomorrow or whatever. Well, that have been really so complicated. Like they could have had the scene instead of what you see here of a chase scene, you could have had instead Lucia and Shirley are going shopping in a mall or something. And Lucia's like, what, I gotta go, I gotta split. See you later, Shirley. And she's like, wait, where are you going? I'll talk about it later or something. I don't know, that would have made more sense to me. If you wanted to show these two had a relationship going on. Because this seems like a very one-sided thing, even though clearly, from what I understand, it wasn't a one-sided thing. Not the best way to handle this. I don't even know why Lucia even went into the store. I think it was for Mass, since you see Mass at the side here. But I have no idea why Lucia went in here. Also, she freaks out when she looks at the guy because he has Geass effects in his eye. I'm not sure, but people can't see that, right? So I'm not sure why she freaked out. But she's confused why Lucia's doing all this stuff. And again, I'm not sure why this scene exists, other than to show they have some kind of connection. But it seems very one-sided, and I didn't think that was the point of that. So who knows? Then we get back to the actual scene that you saw in episode 10. So think about that, right? In like 5 minutes, we went from episode 4 to 10. So that just shows you how the pacing of this film was a little not the greatest at times. Here is the Borais and the Gurren, and they get intel from Detard about something going on. Also, Colin gets the Gurren as well. Now, what kind of confused me, and this is I literally thought about this like I was watching the film. If Ogi read the intel, why did he ask Lelouch where they're going and why? Wouldn't he have read that the Pertains are planning to invade Naruto to take out the JLF? If that was in the intel, like, why was he confused what they were doing? He read it, right? I mean, he went up to them and said, hey, here's some intel that I got. I mean, he could have read it too, so I'm not read it. So I'm not sure why he was confused why they were going on top of the Naruto mountains, because didn't the intel say that's what the JLF was doing? Unless Dieter put some code in there that only Lelouch could decipher, but they never said that. So I'm going to assume that Ogi could have learned the same information. That kind of confused me a little bit. But anyhow, whatever. It's not a major issue. Just something I realized. So when they go to the classic thing before, he's on the guys, so they won't report their actions. Everyone's hanging on top of the mountain for some training exercise, even though, again, according to the intel, that the Britannic forces are coming here, so it's not really a training exercise. Who the hell knows? So then we see everyone's getting ready for battle. There's Dalton. Yuffie's on the front line because she wanted to be. Then C2 and Lelouch talk about their names and what it means and why snow is white, all that stuff. Then eventually the Cornelius forces again attack the mountain, pretty much like the regular episode 10. Again, like I said at the beginning, they wanted to make sure that you see Lelouch get his gas power. It looks like they wanted the first 4 episode events to be pretty much told in full. So we're talking Lelouch getting his gas power, saving Suzaku, that first rebellion, and then Suzaku's escape. I think I said it right. So it's getting Geass, helping the terrorists fight against the Britannian forces, rescuing Suzaku, and then we want to show Naruto, and everything else is like we had just like kind of skip enough scenes to get there without it making no sense whatsoever. And then of course Tamaki again not trusting Lelouch, saying I should have been leader, and he's like fine, then shoot me then. And of course they eventually join up with him because they had no choice in the matter. I like how, I know this is not related to the film specifically, but I like how, again, Dalton's like, hey, the glass skulls, the cold Borais, they could be serious problems, so don't take them lightly. I'm like, yeah, Dalton respects people. I like that. He's a good guy. He deserved better. Okay, here's what I was talking about, like the weird dubbing. So in the dub, as you guys remember, Dalton's Knorr, I'm sorry, I just confused like 5 names there. Okay, when they're going off into battle, Guilford tells Cornelia to be careful, and then Cornelia says, "Don't treat me like one of your women." And then but the sub says, I don't have it here, but she says, "Don't treat me like a innocent flower or something." Now, let's just be clear here; those are very 2 different things. Treating someone like an innocent flower or like one of your women, like basically, the dub implies that Guilford has a bunch of women that he hangs out with, and they're all very submissive and weak people. Versus saying like, "Oh, don't treat me like I'm some innocent, I guess weak person." I mean, those are like, I guess they kind of mean the same thing on a high level, but low. but if you really think about that, those are very different things. So I don't know why the dub and the sub were that much different there. I forgot to watch the sub for this episode to see if she says the same thing about like don't treat me like an innocent flower as opposed to like don't treat me like one of your women. Oh no, it's the exact same scene. Cornelia takes out the trash, and everyone joins with Lelouch because they realize that yeah, if they don't have them, they're all screwed. Eventually, it looks grim for the JLF because they're surrounding the mountain. They even found their location, and before things go really bad for them, I believe Lelouch activates the canister 3 with the Gurren, which causes a landslide. Meanwhile, the Borais are on the. I mean, that's the Borai Kais with Toto are on their way, and we see Jeremiah with Villetta outside the battlefield. Now, what I like about this is that because they don't have the whole skirmish in episode 5 in the films, so even though they don't have that skirmish or 7 rather, they don't have. I meant yeah 5 or 7. You can still believe that what happened to Jeremiah makes sense here. How he's behind enemy lines and he can't get into the battle because of betraying everyone in stage 4. So the films didn't have to show the other scenes for you to understand why this makes sense. So I'll give the film credit; they knew where to cut. Again, they should have remade the whole thing, but no one asked me, and no one cared if they did ask me, anyways. See, clear my name again makes sense because what happened in stage 4, and they did show that in the film. They did show that in the film. So after Colin does her thing, the landslide kills a bunch of people. The counterattack begins. They really fast forward a lot of these battle sequences. They might even remove some parts too, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, I mean, they take all the forces. Colin takes out Jeremiah, and he escapes his ejection seat rather. And I don't. And of course, as you guys know, Kyo isn't killed here because he comes back later on in turn 18, so Colin can kill him because they don't have Marika or I forgot our girl's name, who join up with Bradley in R2. Instead, they have like 4 random dudes join Bradley's team, and I believe they did that. Actually, I don't know why they did that. I know Marika lives in Oz Reflection, so I guess they want to make sure she obviously lives because she wasn't even present at that battle. I have no idea. I'm just speculating. It was a very weird retconning. They basically did a double retcon because they first retconned that Marika didn't die in Oz Reflection. Then they retconned it again that she wasn't even in the battle. So I don't know. I guess they didn't really think about it too much. So yeah, Kyle's not dead. The battle continues on. It's not going well for Cornelius' troops. And I like how when Suzaku's like, "Is something wrong?" And Lloyd's like, "It doesn't matter. Don't worry about it. Only like 300 people died because of the rock slide. Don't worry. It doesn't have anything to do with you." Eventually, they had to come into battle because things weren't going well. But that's a little later. Again, that I don't believe, if I'm mistaken, just watching this here. Yeah, I'm not sure if they were pinned down or not. I think they kind of skipped that part 2 of episode 11. Instead, they go right for the Borais getting involved. I mean, the 4 holy swords in the Borai Kais getting involved, taking out all the Britannian forces. They kind of skipped a couple, again, they skipped a couple beats because they're trying to show a cohesive battle between the Black Knights and JLF versus the Britannian forces. I still love the scene when all the 4 holy swords, they bound the Borai Kais to take out the Britannian forces. I'm kind of sad, though, like, during this battle, I'm not sure if I have an image of it or not, but basically, Guilford and Toad have a fight, as you guys know, but they don't really make it as interesting as they did in the episode because they cut out like a couple scenes where like Guilford's like, "I heard they have a powerful commander named Toto." I'm like, okay, there's some tension there. They just kind of fight. There's no like, it's not the same. Like, yeah, they're clashing weapons right here, but it's not the same. I wish they had spent more time with that because Toto and Guilford's a great rivalry in the story that never really gets developed much, and in the film it's even less. Also, since things aren't going well for Cornelia, they have the forces. They ask Yuffie to come in there with the G1 base, and she won't do it. So she allows Suzaku to instead join the battle because, as you guys know, Cornelia went to a secret area to turn the battle around. I'm not sure what she was thinking, but Lelouch already had her figured out, so Khan was waiting for her in the Gurren Mark II. So her plans didn't work out, and Suzaku had to join the battle. So there's that. He tells Cornelia, "We're going to capture you at checkmate." And she's like, "Well, you know what? If I defeat the Gurren, I'll live. or I'll escape. But no offense to the Glasgow, I'm sorry, not Glasgow, the Gloucester, Collins Mark II is much stronger. Now, to be fair, if Lelouch was piloting the Mark II, I think he would have lost. So the amount of what's the term? The schematics or I can't think of the term. Whatever. If even though it's a more advanced nightmare frame, doesn't necessarily mean you're going to win the battle. You also have to have good skills. Colin happens to be a good mix of both. Lelouch shoots her arm and the gun out of her hand, and before things go really bad, because things were going well now. I mean, Villetta tried her best, to stop the forces, but again, the Borikais are way too powerful. But again, like before things were really bad, where basically Cornet was going to commit suicide to avoid being captured. Suzaku comes in there and basically ruins the whole thing. Now Lucius like, "Ugh, it's you again." I'm like, well, technically in the film, it's only the second time he's interfered with their plans, right? It was the episode 2, and that's it. So it is him again, but he makes it seem like it's an ongoing thing. It only happened once so far in the movie, so I think it's kind of funny. Eventually, we got the good battle between the Gurren and the Lancelot in its very first encounter, and I call this a tie. Although you could argue Suzaku would have won, but again, it's debatable. It's debatable in terms of who would actually win. Let's try something really quick here. Give me 2 seconds. I'm soaking my game while we're talking, so I have to just have it going. This is the last day for the this event going on, and if I don't get a certain amount of value, it won't be great because we're so close to. It's like a team thing. You win awards for Janissary Code, and if I get a certain amount, I get a lot of cool stuff. So I'm trying to basically do the best I can to soak the system. So give me 2 seconds here. Okay. Yep. And yep. All right, back to this. So yeah, I was saying during this battle, it looked like it was a draw to me, but you could argue because because Colin and the Gurren, the arm was damaged, Suzaku probably would have beaten her if they kept going. But again, it's not that simple. Anyhow, see the arm was damaged, had to repair, and it looks like ugh, and he's like, damn it, of course. So her arm is damaged, and we didn't capture Cornelius, so they retreated, and that was basically that. I'm still not sure why Lelouch didn't retreat with everyone else. He went his own direction, and then Suzaku was able to capture him. Still not sure why that happened. During this encounter, as you know, C2 touches the nightmare frame, but they changed one thing here, which is when they have their whole, I guess, mine F, you want to call it, singled imagery. Lelouch, instead of seeing most of C2's past, he sees a little bit, like when they throw the rocks at the temple. He instead learns that Suzaku killed Genbu. And the reason why they have the scene, as you guys know or don't know, it's because they don't have Mao in this movie. So they had to find another way for him to learn about Suzaku killing his father, and they chose to use this scene instead, which I think is fine. I mean, it makes sense. You are going through someone's mind. You would learn about their past. Although, as C2 said, it was random, so I guess luck was on Lucia's side there. Sydney has before she gets hit by a boulder from Suzaku's crazy rampage. Ooh, perfect. Look at that timing there. Good shot. And he takes her into the cave to take care of her. Meanwhile, Cornelia has to retreat because their forces are in bad shape, and everyone's like, "Yay, we won!" I think, and we also left the JLF hanging, and Colin's hoping Zero wasn't captured. Now, I actually was thinking about this while I was watching this episode or film. Now related to Britannia, again, this makes sense from Lucius' perspective because, he doesn't know about the whole Ragnarok connection scheme. But here's something interesting I was thinking about. Again, a question for you guys. C2 is talking to Lelouch and she says, "You finally call me by my real name." Who is she talking to in the dream? Is it Marianne? Is it someone like in the deep past of her life? They never said who she was so comfortable to talk to that they finally shouted her name because said her name. If we go through her previous contracts, and that includes Renya, Renya sort of. I don't recall him ever saying this to her, so I'm not sure who she's talking about in her dreams. You find calling my real name. I wonder who she was referring to. Oh, and during that, as you know, Suzaku went on a rampage, so they get him out of there. And Cornelia's like, of course, my brother's failings, which is a good foreshadowing that Schneisel's the one who runs the whole engineering core. So I like that. I did notice that. I forgot that last time I watched that episode. Lelouch, of course, tells her about his name, that she learned her name. Then he thanks her, and C2 has no memories of her past, or sort of does. It's kind of confusing. She's lived like a very long time, so her connection to humanity is basically non-existent. Hence the whole Snow is white thing, or why is Snow white? Because she forgot what color it's supposed to be. So he thanks her, says her name, and then she didn't like the way he said it either. And so, okay, so here's Jeremiah. He's taken by Bartley's crew. Now, what they did here in this scene, and I don't know why, but when Colin comes in there, Lelouch doesn't say C2. I don't know. I'm not sure why Snow is white, but I think it's beautiful. Instead, what happens here is that they say nothing and they move on. There's a scene later on in the film where Colin is like talking to C2, saying, "C2, was it? You got learn how to put a nightmare frame." I don't know why they cut that out of the film. It was kind of weird. I don't know. Maybe they wanted to show a different, like the two of them fighting in a different way, because I'm pretty sure after that scene, Colin was pretty much became jealous of C2 for being with Zero. So I'm not sure why they cut that out. I guess they didn't want to have that scene later on where they weren't sure of his identity, and Colin tried to defend him and said, "Hey, does C2 know your identity?" And he's like, or no, I'm sorry. She didn't say it out loud. She was thinking it, and then she walked away from Lelouch or something. I'm not sure why they cut that out, though, but there you go. This is the same scene from the previous episode. This is 12, by the way. So we're now about, I'm not sure how long. Let's see. You want some perspective? We are approximately about 1 hour and 36 minutes into the film, and we're over in episode 11. I'm sorry, 12. They mentioned how everyone is lost in JLF, but Toto is still alive. They lost to Borai Kais. I believe he's also captured too. We don't see the capture scene. I don't think it matters, but there you go. Same scene from the anime. The idea that like they want to go stop Kyoto, but they can't because they're hard to find. But in reality, they're being bribed, which is taken care of later on in, I believe, 23 or 24 of the actual show. But they don't mention that here. So there's that, and they can do anything about it, which they totally could, but they refuse to. Is the better term to put it. All right, so now poor Yokozuka is basically not in this movie. They have like a couple references to it, but again, we don't know what the context was behind those scenes. You can look at it two ways: it happens off screen, or it never happens at all. And what you're seeing is actually just another random thing that the Black Knights are doing. That happens to blow up a tanker. That is exactly the same tanker as the one that no, that's not his name. Katase was on. There we go. Instead, we get this scene where you see Villetta, and she's just at poor Yokozuka. She has all the data about Lelouch. We don't know where she got it. I guess it's from her research that she had before when she spoke to Shirley. And again, just so you guys know, Shirley's father doesn't die in Narita. He's not even there, I guess. So she does it on her own, I guess. I don't know. Detard shoots her, and then she falls into the water. I like this for a couple of reasons. Number one, Shirley's father doesn't die, which is always a good thing because I don't think he deserved it. But more importantly, from a logistical standpoint, when Shirley shoots Villetta, it was always ambiguous how she got into the water and was found by Ogi later on. I assumed that Shirley carried her and threw her into the water out of panic or something, because they were not even close to the water when she was shot, from what I can tell. So she must have carried her and thrown her into the water again because she was terrified. But here it's less ambiguous. Detard shot her and she fell. Also, I didn't even pay attention. Where did he shoot her? Because, yeah, I want to watch the film again to see exactly where he shot her, because I think when she wakes up, did he still have the same? Was it consistent with the bandages? I'm not sure. Okay, we have another new scene. This is when the Black Knights split into two groups. Half the group goes to the Chinese Federation to meet with Rakshata. The other half goes to meet with Taizo at the headquarters of Kyoto. Why the scene exists, I have a couple theories. Number one, they don't show Rakshata later on being with the Black Knights before they rescue Toto, so they had to find another way to get her involved in the story. Number two, because Mao is not in the story, C2 never goes to the Chinese Federation, and that plot point is never really addressed. So instead, they go to the Chinese Federation now. I guess this is where they first make contact with them. So C2 isn't even necessary for that scene. Those are my only thoughts on it. Otherwise, I have no idea why they had this scene in the film. I do like it more than when they first meet Rakshata. Although I am a little disappointed because when Zero first talks to her in stage 17, that was a really great scene because he was able to form a very positive connection with her, talking about her past and also being very friendly. And I've spoken before about how that's one of Lucius' greatest talents. He's got great interpersonal intelligence. And so when he interacts with Rakshata, you get to see that firsthand. Instead, when they kind of skip that out to have like this scene, which I like, I like Colin and her Chinese outfit. I think it's very adorable, especially the traditional Chinese outfit. And they give her also they had the Gekkas for the four holy swords, although they're not really going after them at this time. So I'm not sure who these Gekkas were even for. So that's kind of weird. The other thing too about the scene, they explain why they're helping them out, which I thought was obvious, but maybe not. I don't think the show ever fully stated they wanted to help the Black Knights to free India. Maybe they did. Again, I always assumed that was the case. Although I thought India was trying to get independence from the Chinese Federation, not the Britannia. So, anywho, so this is a great scene where Lelouch meets up with Taizo Kirihara, and they're talking about how they don't think Zero is Japanese, which is very true. He's not. This scene is super important because if you guys don't remember in the original anime, I'll even show you the image so you can see the comparison between the two. But in the original anime, let me go back to it. It's episode. No, I don't want to do that. 12. Episode 12. I'm almost there. Almost there. Oh, there's no concert scene. There's no table scene either, and there's no concert scene either because again, Shirley's father didn't die, and none of those plot points ever converged. Anyways, so when Lelouch goes to see Taizo, I want to show you the image right here. Hold on. Also, Suzaku is not shown cleaning up after Narita either. Another thing they removed. But here's the most important part. So let's see. I want to show you the actual image of it to really explain. Okay, I guess this one. Let's see. All right, this one works fine. We'll show you. This one just. Okay, so when Lelouch talks to Taizo here, this is from the original anime. He's in front of all the Black Knights, and he takes his mask off. So whatever he's using to like change his voice is gone. So they could have heard his original voice, and they could have seen something to indicate who he was. Plus, the guard saw him too. So it was definitely a plot hole in the story. So what they did in the film was they have them meet in a private garden somewhere where no one can see them whatsoever. And I thought this made way more sense. It gets rid of that entire plot hole where they know where it was possible they knew his identity early on in the story. So this was much better. I have no idea why they didn't do this from the get-go. Having that whole like contrived, I won't say contrived, that whole like scheming plan where he had to use Geass on a nightmare frame or a pilot on a nightmare frame to take a bull ride to come in there. It was a mess. This is a much better way to do it. Plus, it shows Lelouch was more less hostile and more diplomatic, which I think would have been a better approach anyways. So I like the scene a lot. It was a good change for the film. And the same outcome happens anyways. They get Taizo's full support, and they learn that Lelouch is not he's not Japanese, but he hates Britannia, so go fight for him. Since we don't have the situation with Mao and Shirley, we go to episode 14, but we skip like basically everything, except for the scene where Ogi finds Villetta. Now, what's weird is about this conversation, again, it's not a strange translation. I don't think he discussed this in the original dub. He said something more of like something different about if we should support Zero. We're not nationalists. It was kind of, I don't recall him discussing that in the original anime. Then he finds Villetta, and she says, "You're with Zero and not Zero, period." Which I don't know what the context was there. I guess they changed that because she was talking to Detard. Again, I didn't put my changes. There's so many changes between the film and the original anime. But this change here was because when she was shot, she wasn't shot in front of Zero. She was shot in front of Detard. So instead of saying you are Zero, she's saying you are with Zero. That was a change here. I missed that in my video. I'm telling you guys, there are so many little things they did. So that's another example of it. Then we see Detard showing all the documents about Lelouch being Zero, and he has a weird expression. I really thought this was Schneisel at first. Don't ask why, but this is obviously Detard. There's a nude scene here. Do I have the image captured? Hopefully I don't. I don't have it. Okay, good. So Villetta wakes up. Now we're in episode 15, and he asks her about what she's doing at the docks. They keep this scene for some reason. I guess at the show there's something between these two because there has to be later on in Resurrection. So it's not entirely contrived that these two were together. But I don't know. I guess they had to show one nude scene in the story. Thank God I don't have the image captured. But yeah, he's taking care of her, and that's that. Then we see Shirley in the same outfit she wore in Turn 3, if you guys remember. If you want a refresher, I'll pull it up real quick. This is a lot of fun. Let me go to R2. Turn 3. Keep going. Almost there. I want a good image of it. Yeah, I'll start going through till you get it. So let me. Yeah, you see the same pigtail outfit. Even the dress, I think, is the same. Where am I? Is it the same outfit too? Yeah, it's the same outfit as well. Because turn 3 is skipped in the film, so they have her outfit here, which I think is nice. I thought that was a nice little touch they did there to have this new scene with her in that outfit, since they don't have it in the films. Again, this scene, I don't know what the what the purpose of Shirley being here. Again, she's following Lelouch, which I think is an interesting subplot, I guess. But wouldn't it make more sense to show them just dating instead? I don't know. Also, I think it was Kento. I think Naomi told her to go back home because it's not safe here. Your nice, clean home. Basically calling her a rich, spoiled brat. And I think Kento's like, don't be so mean to her or something. Or wait, maybe Naomi didn't even say that. Who the heck knows? But apparently she went here because she saw that like Luch went here a lot of times to the ghetto. But like, I don't know. Just show him dating. Don't show this. This is stupid. Then we get a montage, and this is what I was discussing earlier. We see like this is from an earlier episode. I believe it's 9. This is from episode 9. This is from episode 7. This is episode 8, and this is episode 12, I believe. So I don't know, or 13. So I'm not sure why they showed this compilation of scenes, because until they did, I was under the impression these things never happened in the original, in these films. They were cut out. But you are showing the hotel here. You are showing Port Yokozuka. You are showing this bridge from the Saitama Ghetto. So I have to ask, like, if these things happened, but in different contexts. So they want to show like just fighting scenes between the Black Knights and Britannia without actually these events that we know of from the original anime. If that's the case, then I guess that's what's going on here. I'm still not a huge fan of this, but again, two ways to look at it. Either it happened or they're showing the images show a different story altogether. Which I guess makes sense, because if you didn't watch the original anime and this was your first introduction to the series, you wouldn't know the difference either way. Which is why, even though I don't like this whole compression, I know both stories. So for me, it's a bigger issue. But if you didn't know the difference, you probably wouldn't care. Anyhow, we get to a new scene. We're in the submarine. I believe this is, I'm sorry, submarine. It's a ship. I believe it's the same base that Colin was training in the Nightmare Frame. That one scene in stage 16, where she's, I'll pull it up. Might also keep pulling up stuff as we talk here. It was 16, and it was very early on. Yeah, this. See this scene here? Same boat, by the way. This is from 16. See, there's the boat. And if you go a little further into the episode, Colin is training in the boat. See, right there. Okay, back to this. So this is the boat from before, and Lelouch is throwing darts. Now, at this time, the Black Knights have formed. And by the way, here is a new scene of them forming. But this is not the hostage rescue. This is something else altogether. I believe it's when they took out one of the... I believe Lelouch, they took out like an entire... what was it? Navy group or something. So I guess that was them celebrating afterwards because now they're officially the Black Knights. They were not the Black Knights before, though. They changed when that happened. And also, they explained why he annihilated the JLF because he's trying to unite all the resistant forces under him, which is what he kind of implied in the original anime. But again, nothing wrong with explaining that through dialogue. And this is good dialogue, too, by the way. I love this scene. And how, again, he'll do everything he can to help Nelly out. Then we have Colin come in here, and she's like, hey, Lauren used a nightmare frame, and was it C2? So I guess this is the first time she learned her name. Also, D-Tards joined the group. If you guys didn't know, D-Tard joins actually way before Port Yokozuka, and the film he joins way after. Again, I don't know what the purpose of that change was, but they put it in there. And she's like, I'm eating my brunch. And Colin's like, are you serious? Also, it kind of makes more sense you would do the training here as opposed to in stage 19, where Tamaki asked her to get the training and she was like not in a position to do so. At least in this base, she could have done the training. And I think they also made this change too because in the anime, the next episode, she's piloting the Gwain, but in the films, it happens way later on, so it shows you had more time to train a nightmare frame. I think she could have picked it up pretty quickly, anyways. But the film's like maybe we should space out a little more to make it more, I guess, believable. We don't see the four holy swords. I'm sorry, Toto captured, but the four holy swords do come in there to ask for help. We don't see C2 here because if you guys remember in the original anime, C2 at this point told Lelouch, I'm sorry about the Chinese Federation thing. I didn't get a chance to go because she saved his bacon against Mao. But since that doesn't happen in the story, they can't show C2 to have the conversation. So this is actually a brand new scene. And then we instead see C2 watching them, and I have no idea what the purpose of this is, besides giving her something else to do instead of being by Lelouch. Same scene though of all of them talking and how he wants Suzaku to be her knight. But again, I'm not sure why C2 is watching them. She also gives this weird expression, and I only have like a couple interpretations of this. The main one is that she's falling in love with Lelouch, why she's giving him that very like I don't know innocent look or something. I'm not sure why. Again, I'm not sure why she's looking at him in that way. She does fall in love with him, so maybe that's the purpose to demonstrate that even C2 early on was falling for him. Other than that, I have no idea what the purpose behind this is. I will say though, it's beautifully animated. C2 has very beautiful golden eyes, as you guys can see. Meanwhile, before Lelouch can ask Suzaku about becoming Nelly's knight, C2 grabs him away. We don't see the scene of Lelouch, of Suzaku, I should say, sign a contract to kill Toto. We just go right into the whole rescue situation where Lelouch breaks him out. The Gekkas are starting their approach. We saw the Gekkas earlier on with Rakshata. The music was changed here to something else, which I hate because the original song soundtrack in this scene was perfect. They change it for some reason. They rescue Toto. They fight against Suzaku. They don't show the scene of Lelouch like typing on the computer to show how he came up with the calculations of Suzaku's movements, but it doesn't really matter. Same thing as before. His thing opens. They break open his cockpit, but no, they don't have what's it called, the eject seat in there yet. So Lelouch is like, "Oh my God, there's no way you can't be there because you could be with Nelly." Then Toto opens his cockpit seat. He's like, "Hey, if you want to do this, fine, but follow us to the very end." And they have a little fight, which is it's a good scene. And eventually, before they have a chance to finish him off, Lelouch tells everyone to retreat. They move on. No crazy laugh. Instead, we go on to Lelouch talking to C2 about what to do. And he's like, I can't use Geass on Suzaku. And she's confused as to why that's the case. And he has to find a better way to do it. And then the movie ends. And that's just it. That's the film. Here's some kind of traction for the next film. It shows a little bit of R1 and R2. Mostly R1, though, which is interesting. And that's the film. Before I give you my overall thoughts, let me make sure I didn't miss anything from my notes. Again, not a whole lot to say about the film because, again, it's just what you've seen already with a couple of changes here and there. All right, give me a couple seconds to take a look. Let's see. Mhm. Oh, one thing. This scene here, uh, this is the first scene in the anime with Cheese Coon. I'm not sure if you guys had to know that or not, but Cheese Coon doesn't make an appearance until this scene in the film. The animation it came much later, but we don't see the scenes of Mao. So yeah, this is the first time we see Cheese Coon. That's it though. While I read some comments, we'll look at this scene here. I guess I like this images; it's quite nice. Okay, let's do some comments, and then I'm going to go into Janissary code. We got a lot of things to do. Okay, let's see. That'd be great. I do agree. What would happen if Kogias character were in 1984? Would Lucian be case overthrown by the government ministry? Charles versus Big Brother? Will Lucian be capable overthrow the government ministry? Um, well, it's kind of like 1984 almost, but not to the same extent. That's very interesting because there's so many world powers, right? It's not just one. So world. That's a complicated question because that's a whole different. Those are two different dystopian worlds you're talking about there. So I'll tell you one thing: it'd be an interesting fight between Big Brother and Charles for sure. I agree with that one. I think Charles wins though because Nightmare Frames are too powerful. Just saying. Yep, Dalton was thrown on the bush. The bus, not the bush. Although I do not want to see a trilogy of films, I do want to see them. I think it's kind of rip off how the films have more old footage than new. Yep, I completely agree. They could have redone it. Fun fact: your Urbase actually won the guards and one of the guard in the beginning. Wait, you mean you mean that Uribe was one of the guard protecting Clovis in the beginning? Is that what you meant? Let's go. Actually, I'm sorry. I want to give you guys a headache. Let's Okay, one second. I'm doing this the wrong way. There's a right way and there's a wrong way, and I did it the wrong way. 1 second. I want to show that image of them together, so I'll pop that up real quick. Okay, now you're saying that mm, come on. You're saying that one of these guys was Uribe? Is that what you were saying? You can respond later. Okay. Anyways, back to more comments. We don't know Jeremiah Dalton were we don't know if was there in exile in the original series, and Lelouch could have not known about them. Yeah, that's probably true too. I guess I'm still upset about it. A bit of a retcon, yes. He did like Marion though, but that's true. Dead Big Brother is much stronger government. They definitely had much bigger control over people. Plus, so many spies from the inside. It was disgusting. That would be kind of cool. That would be kind of cool. Um, Not the same extent, but that is true. Yes, that's very true. Yeah, so he had loyalty to Marian, but Lucianelli, I'm not sure was the same thing. Um, a Duke, that's right. It was a Duke, that's right. I forgot what the title was. Yeah, he did it blind faith. I still don't care. Well, Tommy spent all the BK's money owning a successful restaurant at the end of the series. That's also true. He got really good at finances as well. Very true. Yeah, they should have put it in though because, like, again, that was kind of important. Yeah, I mean, I'm not sure why they had that in the episode. I guess to show the movie just to show he has some kind of like high school stuff. But yeah, they could have removed that. There was no need. Yeah, me too. I would love to see it as well. Yeah, very much. Yeah. 2 hours seem like a lot enough time to summarize 70 episodes of the events, although I like the last Airbender film more than most people, and that film had the same problem. To be fair, the film was, yeah, it was about 2 hours, little 2 hours, 10 minutes, but yeah. It was like 7, not 17, otherwise we wouldn't have had 3 movies. No, no, no. But it was 3 films. The first film was 1 through 17. Second film is from 18 to 17, I think, of R2, and then R2, and then the third film was the rest of R2. I'm gonna try today. I got enough. I'm gonna try it today later on. Unfortunately, it seemed like a lot of the content of the Geass script got saved in the auto picture drama. Some of it, yes, that's true. I did not. That's funny. Um, they added new scenes in the movie. They sure did. Well, that's also true. Yes. So who was the first 11? Was it Colin or Suzaku? That's also true. Yeah, and there could be other people as well. I'm talking like that we know for sure. But yeah, that's a good point. Oh, I get that, but C2 shouldn't have said it because C2 knows better. Like it was really strange. She was by herself. You know, if other people were around her, that would have made sense. But she was by herself. That's why I don't like that scene. Yeah, but he has to prove it. That's the important part. He has to prove the scene. That's the issue. Yeah, who knows indeed. Um, yeah, but again, it's not the same thing though. The Saz, I don't think they had any. The Saz, not so much, but the situation with what's his name? When Katase was killed during Katase, that's how was that was proof that there could have been something going on. Again, it's just like the fact they. I'm not going to discuss here. If you want to watch how I felt about that, you guys already know. Turn 19, I ranted about it. I'm going to do a video too at some point, but it was not handled well. It too much work on the they had too much plot contrivances with that one. Shirley is Gwen Stacy, Colin is Black Cat, and C2 is Mary Jane. Interesting. That's a pretty good comparison, actually. I like that. Yeah, she certainly is. Yeah, very true. Lot of I didn't a lot of comparisons. That's for sure. But I still think it's a very big difference between the two of them. Let's go watch the film. Hmm. I heard that in Oz, Marika never died in the first place. She ejected from her nightmare frame or something. The reason why she was played by Kuyo in the film is because of fan service. Wait, what do you mean because of fan service? That makes no sense. If she was replaced by Kyo, then you mean like the non-sexual kind? I'm not sure what you mean by that. Um, well, they still retcon that because in the episode, her nightmare frame blew up. You never saw her eject from it. The nightmare frame blows up, and you don't see an ejection seat activate any single time. So it was a retcon, just to be fair. But yes, I do agree that I'm not agree. I'm acknowledging that Other Reflection did explain what happened, just like they explained how Nelly survived the flare. So there is that. Oh, okay, there you go. I didn't know that. Well, I think so. They're 1/3, so for sure. Shameless propaganda 101. Um, about the Kyoto meeting, the only one who could suspect her identity was Colin, and Lelouch at the moment was speaking Japanese, which would make guessing his identity harder. I don't know. I'm just saying, like, it removes all doubt that other people saw him. That was the point. Like, it wasn't just the fact they could hear him, but also the guards saw his face too. So they wanted to make sure that none of they want to keep the meeting completely private, 1-on-1 for security reasons. That was the purpose. Yeah, that's what happened. Very true. It's been a while. Honestly, it's been a while since the capture anime has been announced. Like, we should at least get some info how they're doing, right? I agree. Nothing's going on with that film, that show. I'm kind of annoyed by it. Then again, maybe they're still taking their time on the anime so they can try to surprise the fans. Um, maybe I don't know. I hope it's a good surprise. No, I mean Urbe was one of the guards in the beginning where young Lelouch was carried Nully in the stair. Oh, hold on. Really? Sorry, I did it again. He did it again. We'll look at C2 instead. Let me take a look. Oh, that's what you meant. I was like, I don't remember that. Let's go up the beginning. That's a good eye. I never noticed that. Stupid radiators. Let's see. Which guard was it? Because like it can't be this dude. His hair is too perfect. So, um, wait, which guy's Urabe here? Here, I want to pull up the film and just take a quick look at it. If I find it, I never even thought of looking. That's a good Easter egg. I didn't even notice that. He's asking me. I've not seen. Well, I've not seen Classroom of the Elite. I've been really busy. My computer like not working was like on the top of that list, but I'm not gonna play the film here. Let me just go to that scene so I can find it. Oh yeah, he was there. That's so weird. I never noticed. Orbe was there. That's so random. I never even noticed. Hold on, I'm trying to like mute it. In fact, it wasn't just Urabe. Hold on, let me show you the guys this. See, look. That's also Senba. So if you go through this, hold on, it's really fast. See, there's Urabe, there's Senba, and or I'm sorry, that's Urabe. So is this Asahina? But anyway, they're all here. For Holy. Oh no, that's Toto. That must be Toto then, right? That's Toto. There's Senba, and there's Urabe. Really cool. I never noticed. And there's two random guards. Yeah, there you go. Thanks for that little factoid there. I didn't know that. Yeah, I heard about that actually. Hopefully, not bad. That's probably what happened. Yeah. So there you go. It wasn't just Toto, Urbe. It wasn't just Urbe. It was also Toto and Senba. That's pretty cool stuff. Okay. All right. Let's move on to Janissary code. Let me change my perspective. Let me pull this up. We're going to cut this a little shorter than I expected, but that's still fun. We can get all the important stuff taken care of. Okay. Okay. Yep, S rank. I knew that was coming. Because I sucked this week. All right. We are not doing any summonings of the main group because, well, I'll put it like this. Because I got screwed over last time. And by the way, you guys, if you guys aren't aware, I want to show you something real quick before we start with the summonings. Give me like 2 seconds here. I know typing sounds really annoying, but 1 second. A second here. I want to show you guys something. You've probably seen it already, but in case you didn't know, the next event is starting in a couple days, and look who we're getting. See that? We're getting Julius and Charles. I'm not a fan of Charles, but Julius sounds cool, so I'm excited about that. So we're not going to sell anyone today from these groups. Come say my dike for that. What I'm going to do is I'm going to do a couple fours, and that's probably going to be it. Let me go and just change this real quick. Okay. Are there bait banners? They're all bait banners, but yes. Maybe Monaco will be in there. We'll see. No fours. Lame. All right, Ashley for the billionth time already. Dorothea. Let's see. We'll just skip these. You guys don't care. Just mark my bet anyways. Oh, I got some extra stuff. All right, we got a V2. That's cool. 1-3, I guess. Whatever. Let me go into my free summon of the day. I've heard Doki Literature Club. I've never seen it. Look how bad that was. Bad summon. Why are you smiling? It was bad. Upgrade? If you don't upgrade me, that's a tease. Lame. Oh yay, Toto! I already have her filled out. I mean, that's something wrong. I already have like all the Totos. That's what I say. Okay. Oh wait, not this one. Let's do this next. We're getting level 4, by the way. It looks like it. We're not getting level 4. Oh, she sounds excited. Maybe we're getting level 4. Let's see. I think we're getting level 4 because you don't see that unless you get it. Yep, we're getting level 4. I knew it. And I don't care what we're getting, by the way. I've accepted that this game hates me, so I don't care. Do I have this character? Oh, C2. All right. I'm not going to complain. Yep. But first. It's fine. I wouldn't mind getting what's her name? What is her name? Layla. Shirley. Ogi. I don't care about the level 2 anymore. I got them all. We'll get a detail though. Oh, Kaguya. She's really good. Klaus, sorry about that. I took a little break there. Yukia, no thank you. And then Ogi. And our last 3 is Tianzi. Very good. I like Tianzi. She's good. And one more. Lux. Okay. Lux. Whatever her name is. If I skipped your comment, by the way, it was not intentional. I don't skip people's comments on purpose. I promise you. I didn't skip your message on purpose. I go through these really quick. The Kogias firearms are actually coal guns, meaning they use EM motors to accelerate the bullets instead of gunpowder. I don't know what comment you had. I don't think I skipped it. Which one was it? I don't know. If I skipped it, I apologize, but I'm pretty sure I didn't try to anyways. Ooh, I think he probably would, right? He would definitely use the Razavon to reset the world. Definitely for him not only to live peacefully, for sure. Who was that girl that you got last in the free summon? Oh, that's Toto. The one with the Reddit link? Oh, I don't think you can post links in the chat. I think YouTube blocks it. You can't post links. That's why I didn't get it. If you can tell me what the subject was in Reddit, I can search for it. But I don't think you can put links in the chat. I can, but I don't think they allow users to because of spam and crap. She wore a black dress. That girl with purple hair that she wore in black dress that I just summoned, right? I don't know who you're referring to. Purple hair and black dress. Oh, Lux. I'm sorry. I'm an idiot. Lux. Hello? Is anyone home? You're talking about Lux. Yeah, that's her. This is Lux. Keep on scroll. Here she is, Lux. Talk about her. Yeah, she's a character from Zio of the End. I was like, black hair? Oh, yeah, Lux. She's got purple hair. And yeah, don't ask. I'm not all here today. Okay, that was Lux, by the way. All right, let's do one more of these. We're about to do our event, so I'm definitely going to get more of these tickets. Okay, C2? No? All right. All right, I know you're happy. Whatever. Let's see. Any threes? Yeah, I give some threes here. If it's all blue, I'm really pissed. You can't give me all blues on this one. I believe you're guaranteed threes in this game, in this type of summoning. Ah, one for you, sir. You get one. Futaba. Shirley. Futaba. Futaba. Wow, 6 Futabas. Ogi. Wow, 7. What was that? 4 or 5 Futabas? Jeez. Toto. Ogi. And Tamaki. And our 3 is Toto. All right, I'll take it. I like Toto. They do. That's true. R and L's do sound the same. Okay, and then we're gonna do a guaranteed 4. Here we go. Don't care who we get. I would like Orpheus. I like Orpheus. That's all I'm gonna say. I wouldn't mind also. What's her name? Again, Layla. Sure, Doki Doki, whatever. Let's give me a level 4. Here we go. The chances of being a duplicate are pretty high, but again, a new character, please. Ooh, I think this is new. I've never seen this before. Oh, it's Suzaku. I'm like a child. Whatever. I don't care, dude. You can piss off. You can piss right off, sir. Great. Thank you. I totally wanted that. Yeah. By the way, I say I did. I didn't. Okay. Let's do some. Let's clean up here. So I'll give Suzaku his. There are no 5 stars in this game. Thank God. If there were 5 stars in this game, I'd quit because it's already a pain in the ass to get 4s. I'll just say that much. Who's our 4 that I got? Who was it? Oh, it was C2. I'm like, I'm blinder. Who did I get before it was C2? Okay, so pick up some C2. I'm like, who did I get before it was C2? It's all tired I am. Okay. Tianzi, I can't? Oh, I'm still okay, that sucks. What about Kaguya? Can I get her up 1 level? I cannot. How close am I? 20 away. Okay. Oh, Yukia. How are you with Yukia? Also not even close. And I think Toto I might be close. Toto. Nope. I am 20 away. Yay. Okay, and that was everyone here. I believe. Looks I can't do. I already checked. So yeah, that's everyone here. Great. Okay. Now let me go sell some stuff. How are we doing on time? All right, I got in the stream in I'll probably say 10 minutes. Okay. Since I got all level 2s now, I can sell all these guys and not even care about it. So let's go do that. Okay, and then there's going to be a event starting, I believe, Monday. I might go live to do it. We'll see. I haven't decided yet. 1 second. Okay. Sorry, I checked my phone. I shouldn't be doing that on stream. Just it could be important. That's why I do it. Okay, selling all my Totos, and then we got to sell all my Futabas. Man, we got a lot. And then Klaus, which he's the hardest to get, by the way. It took me forever to finish up Klaus in the game. And then Shirley. Okay, good. We're done with all the level 2s that I have to sell off. Okay, now let's go back out. I think I can finish off Yuffie today. That'd be great. I've been trying to get her 5'd out for like the longest time. Nope, I'm still 20 off. Son of a gun. And no new characters either. How do you like them apples? All right, we're gonna couple more comments. I'll leave you guys with this imagery while I read some comments. I'm just kidding. I'm not going to show you this. I'm only joking. Let me. I'll show you C2 instead. Where's C2? No. Come on. I don't think I'm funny about this. Okay. Where is C2? Where is... There she is. Okay. All right. Some questions. Well, this ain't fake Grand Order. I think I knew that. Is Mao good in this game? He's okay. He's not the best. He's okay. Yeah, he's okay. What's in the present box? Oh, must be code links. I'm like, why is there so much crap in here? Yeah, it's the code links. Got it. Okay, cool. We're going to hear today. I might be streaming maybe Tuesday or Wednesday for the next event coming up. I actually do want to summon for it, so we'll see. Anyhow, guys, thanks for stopping by on the stream, partaking as always. There'll be a video up later, maybe the next 20 minutes. Well, I was supposed to upload Friday. And thanks for your patience when I nearly broke my computer. I am the most incompetent person ever. Yeah, I got it. Okay, guys. Have a good week. I might see you later on. If not, I'll see you guys next Sunday.